This royal reception is the tribute to my dear John Bailey, my wonderful husband. To do that, I invited the prominent, worldwide recognized neuro-physiologist, scientist, philosopher in a way, and dear friend of John, Oleg Krishtal. Oleg Alexandrovich, welcome.
Thank you. For me, John was so short experience. It was so good, but it was so short. So I really just pay tribute to this exemplary personality, and say him virtual hello.
Yes, hello John, and hello all of you. And at this royal reception, we will talk about mortality. What does it make to us? What does it make to our conscience? Does it give to us? Does it take from us? That's what we will try to discover with Oleg Alexandrovich. And of course, all those thoughts that I just mentioned, they are Oleg Alexandrovich contemplating in his essay. No, I even would say not essay, but concept, theory, Mozart's window. So, welcome Oleg Alexandrovich, and he's absolutely amazing, contemplating about human being conscience. And for this, I've got one question. Oleg Alexandrovich, why Mozart's window? Why not Einstein window? Why this genius?
It could be Einstein, but Mozart, because he is the product of his self was music, and music is probably the kind of art that is closest to being our spirit. It is actually music is playing with our spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It can make you merry if it wants, and it can make us cry eventually. So Mozart, so to say, is the ultimate impersonification of music man.
Well, I accept your answer, and please tell all of us what Mozart's window means, what the theory is about.
I think the theory, it's difficult to call theory. Maybe some other word could be more appropriate, but I am a professional scientist, but I got all of a sudden just feeling that I have to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, this professional scientist started writing a book.
Discovered the philosopher inside.
Well, it's not maybe partially philosopher, maybe, yeah. But it was what was interesting. It was that the impulse for doing this came absolutely surprisingly and spontaneously. So it came as a surprise.
And what was the inside? What opened up for you? What Mozart's window? How did it happen?
I'll tell you. Yeah. Well, you see, so in fact, everything started with a single phrase which came to my mind. This is just the proper moment to recall to everybody that the way we are thinking is such that the thoughts are coming to us. This is, I guess, correct.
And it's not only the figure of speech.
Exactly.
Scientifically, yes, it is coming to us. From where?
Scientifically, I'm sorry, this is still the room for being philosophical, because before becoming scientific.
Okay.
So the sentence, the thought has come, is common actually to many. I do not dare to say all, but I believe to all human languages.
Mm-hmm.
So the thought comes. We do not just we do not observe the process of thinking. Mm-hmm. We just get ready-made thoughts, either correct or wrong. We consider this question afterwards, after the thought has come.
And who does decide?
Yeah, who does decide? So when I was writing the book, which started with a magic for me phrase, motivation is the slave of the firefly of emotions. This came as a surprise, this phrase. I didn't expect it to come. I was thinking about something else, but it came. And after that, I started writing a book. The process was very peculiar. It lasted between 15 to 30 minutes, nearly every morning, only morning. And it was giving me a great pleasure.
So everything started from this essay. That was the first
No.
open up. Homunculus?
No.
Then when did it start?
Came,
and what Mozart's window is?
I'll tell you. Just one second, I'll tell you. I must prepare you to understand what it means.
Okay.
So I am
Everything is
just
serious.
So everything started from the book, which started in its turn absolutely unexpectedly, without any plot or just preparation internal. Just started, and that's all. And as a result of this book, which had no visible plot, it had, now I understand that it had no plot that could be expressed in words. It had a plot, but the plot was expressed in other language. And while writing the book, I came to the conclusion that in fact we operate with two languages. One is the language of words, and another I called meta-language. And this is the language of our thoughts. Our brain is thinking not in words. This the code of words is very ineffective and very poor and very slow. So the brain is operating other language with is incomparably more rich and effective. And this understanding came to me when I was just writing the book. And how come that we operate internally with these two languages? So I prepare the idea. The idea is prepared in my brain, in my powerful, I believe, brain, which has billions
According to all your rewards, in life, I think it's pretty much powerful.
Well, so I came to the understanding that these two languages coexist here, but how can they coexist, being completely different?
How can they collaborate?
I came to the conclusion that there is a virtual wall inside my brain. And from one side of this wall, the brain is doing, I don't know how to say, his or its. I don't know how to speak about my own about
ethos.
my own brain. I don't know. I believe it's not the problem of English
Maybe
being
it's under
not my
no?
native. It's something else. Yeah, that is principle. Anyway, I came to the understanding that there is a virtual wall inside, and from other side, brain is operating meta language, rapid, effective, but not spokeable with words. And then the prepared thoughts, they may be right or wrong. No matter. The thought comes to another side of the wall, and there, while
Knock,
being
knock, knock. Who is there?
while being just crossing the wall, the thought becomes words. I do not understand, and I cannot say anything about the intimate process of transformation. But there are some ideas. I came to the understanding that in one form, the meta language is accessible out of the skull, in the surrounding world. And what is this just, so to say, substance of meta language that is subjected to external existence? This substance is art in any its form.
So meta language, basically, what you want to say, becomes material. Yes, in our like I should say, on this side of the wall, it becomes material with the help of art.
We cannot say material.
Okay,
because
real.
If I have
That we can touch.
Oh my God! So material, it's not probably the best form of description, because while the book can, the book may be and maybe not the so to say representation of art. The book may be art, maybe not art. Let us take synopsis and the novel.
Okay.
What is the difference between them? Novel may be the product of art. Not necessarily, but maybe the protocol. But anyway, the difference between synopsis and novel is expressed in meta-language. Now I ask you whether it is appropriate to say material. It's not material.
But when meta-language is framed in some art objects which we can touch, which we can see, which we can, I don't know, observe. So when you touch it, it's material. You can touch it. You can smell it if you know it's the fragrance or something.
It come touch, or feel fragrance. It's not. It doesn't mean that you.
No, but then after what we see, after what we've touched, inspires us.
Yes, then
it gives
becomes,
us this aspiration.
Then it becomes, or may not become, our feeling, and our spirit.
And that is meta-language.
Of course.
So
meta-language gives us the possibility to share our feelings and to share the spirits.
Okay.
You see? So to say about meta-language that it becomes just material when it comes out of skull, it is improper.
I'm Platonic, I think. The world of ideas and the world of real
yes,
world.
Exactly.
So from the world of ideas, which is on the other side of the wall, with the help of meta-language, or what? Or Mozart's window, probably.
Mozart's window comes from other, so to say, slightly. It has somewhat different origin. So we came to the conclusion, or I, as a author of this book, came to the conclusion that there is a wall in the brain, virtual wall between meta-language and language. And actually the windows in this wall must exist in order to make exchange between the language and meta-language. They must exchange.
It's like short access, yes?
Exactly.
Short access to your conscious.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is a wonderful. I would say that this is a wonderful case when the analogy is much less deficient than usual, because we can take as analog the Windows program, which is just demonstrating us.
I don't think that it's Mozart's window. What do you mean?
We'll come to it just in a moment. Windows, everybody knows what it is, and every small window just gives us the access to this or that ability of computer as our, so to say, intellectual assistant.
So
actually every person has the set of windows which has been developed while the personality was developing. Let us say education. It is the formation of windows. So to say, ability to do something is also the formation of window.
So if I put it like in a simple way, so when this window in your wall inside, yes, between your, the side which you can speak only meta language and the side that we call conscience, yes, you've got the set of those windows of different sizes, yes, and through those windows you can receive, yes, this
Exactly.
meta science,
Yeah.
meta language, and then with the help of your conscience ability to broadcast, to kind of like represent, yes,
Yeah.
what you see in that window, yeah.
Yeah, this is this conscious ability which you say is represented, but not limited by, let's say, our movement, which brings the arrow on the screen to a given window, for instance. This is
Does the quantity of those windows inside of us, Mozart's windows, does the quantity depend on genetic, on I don't know, on your self-education?
Oh, it's you have touched a very big problem that this that makes busy very many biologists and
Really?
philosophers, etc. This is so-called problem, scientific problem, nature or nurture.
Mm-hmm.
So you got it from nature, or you have got it through nurture. Okay? So this is a big question. So I'm sure that both ways are present in our life. Both.
Okay, let's move on.
The case with Mozart
Yeah.
is as follows. It is definitely especially big. In the case of Mozart, the window was, of course, all these um, words represent metaphors, big, small,
Of course, of
of
course.
course, metaphorical. But we remember that Mozart was giving a concert when being, I remember, less than
4 or 5 years old.
4 or 5 years old. Yeah,
At 5 he was already
yeah,
writing.
already was making them, and so we can, and he, so to say, gave up so much music that, taking into account the length of his life, he hardly had
Time to compose.
to write down everything
Without
that
saying
came
to compose.
So my so to say imagination produces, let us say, so big window in my wall that music was just flowing through it,
Flooding,
flooding
into his conscience.
flooding his
Interesting.
conscience. Yeah. So this is it.
So, but if we move on from Mozart's window, it's given to us for a very big price. Yes, we are realizing our mortality. Maybe that's why we have that access to those windows on the other side of the wall.
Oh, it's difficult to say. I don't know. Your question is problematic and very difficult to
To answer.
even to think about. It's difficult even to think about.
But do you think that
When I think about immortality, then Jonathan Swift, Sir Jonathan Swift, comes to my mind immediately with his travel of Gulliver to Lagneg, to the country inhabited by by immortal people.
immortal?
Yeah, he would demonstrate them as a collection of ugly old guys. Well, it's difficult not to so to say not to buy this analogy.
Okay, let's talk about mortality from a little bit different angle. Does it give to us or does it take from us? So, what actually realizing that we are mortal? What actually, you know, does make to us, to our life? You know, um, does it make us depressive or vice versa? We should enjoy our life, enjoy every moment of our life, and without thinking that we are mortal, or vice versa. We must think that we are mortal. Somebody is enjoying, by the way, life at the moment.
Well, I can rely here only on my own personal experience. So the problem of mortality was especially important for me in my green years. In my green years, when I thought this egocentric, so to say, way of thinking of a young guy in his green year. In this time, it was a hard emotion to think about one's mortality. But then it diminished and did not disturb me the major part of my life. Now I am 76, and of course the prospect is very, very limited. I don't know how. But I can tell you that it doesn't bother me too much. I understand, for instance, such things as, for instance, it's very impractical for me to buy a new car, to pay extra money for that, because I will have a very high probability to leave my car when it will be still so young. So more practical is to buy a second-hand car. So this is, I understand, demonstrate you.
That's what mortality does with man.
Yeah. I demonstrate you practically the moment when I just register once more in my life that I am mortal. So no big emotions, you see, because I have a feeling that all the major emotions of my life, and I appreciate many of them very much, and I am unhappy with many others. Moreover, I can tell you that when I just try to balance how much of good and bad I got from life, then I come to a conclusion, almost always, not always, but almost always, I come to the conclusion that I would not be happy with the prospect of starting everything again. Because I paid too much for
being here right now,
yeah,
as you are.
Yeah, for instance. Yeah, but I paid, I got much, but I paid much. That's all. So I think that I will come to the end being more or less patient.
So you told me just right now that you don't want to repeat, it's over
Yeah.
again. And
Sometimes I
you would, yeah? Some moments you would, yes?
Yeah.
But as far as the life is concerned, you say that the human being comes to this world as tabula rasa. So it actually, mind is absolutely clear.
Yeah.
And then, he or she starts realizing the world, starts observing the world, and then the person, yes, the human being, uh, gains the ability to change the world this human being is.
So let me put it in such way. Uh, the child, whether this is a human child or a dog's child, opens the eyes and the world, the external world, starts getting into his brain. Mm-hmm. And it forms its brain. Mm-hmm. The brain acquires connections that allow the brain to make memories of what child is getting. Finally, the child has the world inside. One world is outside, you open the eyes and you see it, and another world is inside. You close the eyes, but you see the world. This is the world in you. It is the world written by your brain.
Written down, recorded.
Right. Recorded by your brain, but not only, but and it becomes fixed in the form of synaptic connections between the neurons. Mm-hmm. And actually, this experience altogether, this is the experience of life, because you not only see the world outside, but you also just get your impressions, and you have your experience of life. All that is just recorded, and all that is forming your brain and forming the
your ESO, yeah?
Yeah, and forming the set of windows in your wall.
Okay, that's very interesting. So here we are. There is mortality and realization. Every healthy human being realizes that there is death.
Yeah.
And here we are. Every time the new human being comes to the world with tabula rasa. The world is recorded. So the human being lives according to the experience. All those windows are open. Yes. Some human beings, they have a lot of windows inside. Some human beings have less windows inside. But then they die, and to put it shortly, like life is beach, then you die. So what then happened? What happened to all those experiences, all those emotions, impressions, all those windows, for God's sake?
All they are.
Where mortality kills it all.
All they vanish.
Unfortunately, Oleg Alexandrovich, I can't agree with you on
they
that
vanish,
terms.
They vanish, but something is preserved. What is preserved? The traces I have left in other people, and the traces of my activity in the world, which is accessible to the minds of other people. All this remains. So I, as well as not millions, how many I don't know, billions of those of us who have been here, their traces are with us, and they actually form us. We spoke about John, but John was influencing you, and you are partially influenced by John. And this is not just his hello, this is his presence here.
Definitely true.
And the presence of other people who will persist being while you will go will also have the traces of you in the form which you acquired from a lot of everything, including your John.
With that, I agree. I just, finalizing our conversation for today.
Your John is John for you and for those who knows him as John. But his aspiration, his activities, his part which he expressed and gave up to this world in meta language, not in words, it will stay here. And it will be with you, and it will be with those who will come after you.
Just add that his Mozart's windows were open up wildly, as wide as his generous heart, and to put to finalizing our conversation for now, I say that you should be, I think, brave enough to to discover actually those windows inside of yourself. And it takes your will, it takes your strengths, it takes your self-educations, to work with yourself, with other people, and then I think that the window will become not only bigger, but the quantity also will rise.
I agree with you. Generally, we can say that the life is not easy thing, but my God, it is pleasant thing.
As John used to say, that when you wake up in the morning, then get on with life.
Yeah, this is very, very wise, just impression.
Well, Oleg Alexandrovich, thank you very much for this very interesting conversation, which we end now, but
I'm not sure that it will be very digestible to English auditorium, I don't know.
We'll see. But what I want to say that I've got a lot of questions, for you, which I didn't ask you. So I hope that you agree.
You are always welcome.
Great,
No
and I think that our audience will also wait for our next, flight, and after you realize how deep you can dive into that Mozart's window, which all of us have, at least one we do. What I wish for you, Oleg Alexandrovich, is to open wildly all your windows and to give us, more of your prominent thoughts, more of your very, sometimes controversial but very interesting books. And I wish all our audience to be brave enough to open those Mozart windows and dare to create.
I join you in your aspirations.
So we will fly next time, and I hope that you will fly with us.
Okay.
Thank you. Wonderful.